It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I had the privilege to interview the Georgia Bulldogs Associate Head Swimming Coach Stephanie Moreno. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Brandon. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about, of course, how you got started in college coaching?
Yeah, of course. So I never knew that I wanted to be a coach. When I was at Georgia, there was different majors under the sports studies umbrella, and I knew I wanted to do something in sports. I was an athlete my whole life, and my dad kept telling me, "You'd be a really great coach. You'd be a really great coach." And no one really wants to listen to their dad at that time. So I'm like, no, I'm going to swim forever. Like, I love swimming. This is fantastic. And then once I got closer to the end of my collegiate career, I was like, okay, I'm really going to miss the sport of swimming. So how can I give back to a sport that has given so much to me? And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to get into coaching, never worked. Growing up, it was just swimming and eating and sleeping. And when I left Athens in 2004 after the Olympic trials, like I said, really missed the sport of swimming. So applied to a bunch of places, and I was pretty fortunate to have my first coaching job at the University of Missouri in 2005. So I've been coaching for 15 and a half years and love every minute of it.
Can you talk about, of course, some of your stops along the way to lead you back to your alma mater?
Yeah. So I started, like I said, at the University of Missouri, was there for 3 years from 2005 to 2008. And then after that, I went to Ohio State and I worked with the women's program from 2008 to 2012. And then in 2012, there was an opportunity. One of the assistants at the time, Carol Capitani, who is now the head coach of Texas women's swimming, left. And I called Jack, who's the current head coach, is my coach when I swam here. And I was like, please hire me. Like, I love Athens so much. And I've been back to Georgia ever since. So I've spent probably half of my life in Athens, either as an athlete or as a coach.
Can you talk about, of course, what you accomplished at Ohio State?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I accomplished, or we as accomplished when I was at Ohio State, is just, it was a women's only program. So we only had 2 coaches. So I was able to do a lot with Bill Dorencott, who is the current head coach right now. They actually combined the programs, men and women. But it allowed me to do recruiting and travel and budget and logistics and just everything. I had my hand in a lot of different stuff. So it really allowed me to really get into the nitty gritty of what is it like to run a program. Working with Bill was awesome. The people at Ohio State were fantastic. And for me, I'm a big people person. So if it's an environment where it's encouraging and supportive, I'm going to excel. And I know the athletes that I work with excel. And it was just a really great opportunity and super fortunate to have worked at Ohio State, to work with Bill Dorencott, and to, work with the athletes during my 4 years there.
Can you talk about, of course, what you accomplished at Missouri?
So Missouri was like my first real job. I think one of the things that I felt like I accomplished is I grew as a coach. I didn't really know what it was like to coach. I knew what it was like to be an athlete, and I kind of just took what I had learned at Georgia and growing up through club swimming and other sports I played, just to work with the athletes. And, my dad was a football coach for over 40 years. So coaching is kind of like in our blood. But the biggest lesson or biggest accomplishment I felt is just like as a coach is just, being a positive role model for the athletes. When I first got hired in 2005, I was really close to their age. So I wanted to make sure that I was very adamant, like, you're the swimmer, I'm the coach. I was very rigid. And it took me probably a year and a half to kind of relax a little bit. But Brian Hoffer was the head coach at the time, and I was super appreciative that he gave me that opportunity because I had no experience. When I actually applied for the job, my resume did not get past human resources. So he went to HR and was like, hey, I really want to bring this girl out. She's been super successful as an athlete. Jack Bowerly and Jerry Champer, who are coaches at Georgia, had called Brian and just said, hey, fly her out and interview her. If you don't like her, told no big deal, but I know you're going to love her. And I interviewed on a Friday and I got the job offered on a Sunday. And I knew that I was meant to be a coach. Like, I knew that I really wanted to inspire athletes. I knew I had such a great time as an athlete. And if I could be half a coach to the kids I work with, that Jack and Carol and Harvey were to me, then the kids that I work with are going to be super successful. So I think collectively as a coaching staff at Mizzou, we did a lot. We just had a brand new facility that was built in 2005. We started recruiting top athletes in the state of Missouri and around the U.S. And it was really a great learning experience. And again, same thing. The people there were awesome. Brian was great. Chris Peters is kind of like my brother from another mother. He and I shared an office together. So he helped me and I helped him. And it was a really great working environment. So again, super appreciative to Brian and the whole Missouri athletic department for giving a girl who had no coaching experience or work experience an opportunity.
That's amazing. Can you talk about, of course, your collegiate career with the Lady Bulldogs from 1999 to 2002?
Yeah, so when I graduated high school in 98, came to Athens, and Georgia had been an up-and-coming program. And one of the reasons that I fell in love with Georgia is it's close to my hometown, close enough. I'm from Pennsylvania, so if my parents wanted to come and watch, it was a quick, easy flight or a drive. I actually had an uncle who was one of the football coaches here, so I had family in town. Jack is from Pennsylvania. There was a lot of really great connections, and I knew that I would help make the program continue to improve and get better. I had no idea we would even be winning NC2As. My class was the winningest class in program history. We won 3 national championships my freshman, my sophomore, my junior year. We were runner-up my senior year. I was a sprint freestylist, so I could do the 50, 100, 200 free. I contributed in all the relays. At NC2As, you can be an All-American. The maximum you can get is 28 All-Americans. And not at the time, but I was able to get 28 All-American honors in my 4 years. I led off every relay at the conference meet, at NC2As, freshman through senior year. Again, I didn't think I was doing anything special. I just knew that I love swimming, I love competing, and the environment that Jack and my teammates were able to create allowed me to be the best version of myself and also bring out the best in my teammates.
That's amazing. What have you accomplished so far at Georgia as the associate head coach?
So I think it's like twofold, so Jack has been here for a very long time. So our program is very successful, and the coaching staff is, I think, second to none. I mean, if you look at other swimming programs, we are probably the staff that's been together the longest. I've been here for 8 years. Jerry Champer has been here for almost 20 years or over 20. Brian Smith has been here for 15 years. Neil Versfeld is one of our newer coaches. He swam at Georgia, so he was here 2 years coaching wise. This is his second season, but he swam at Georgia just like myself. Our diving coach, Dove at Georgia, he's been here for 3 years. So we collectively have been able to do some really outstanding things. But I think one of the accomplishments that I'm super proud of is, and not necessarily what they do in the pool, because I think as coaches, we create environments for them to be successful, to be challenged. They're the ones that are swimming. I'm not jumping in at 5:30. I have my coffee, they're the ones lifting weights. They're the one making the sacrifices. And we as coaches are just creating opportunities for them to stretch, to grow, to be the best version of themselves. So things that I feel like I accomplish is when kids come back and say, thank you so much for pushing me, or I remember when you said that, or email from parents or letters from parents, and just a thank you, or just a note of encouragement. And that's where I think sport really helps athletes, because at the end of the day, we're preparing them for when they get into the real world. You can only swim for so long. So we have 4 years with them, 5 years with them. And our job as coaches is to help facilitate them. So when they go into the real world, whether it's they're a doctor or a teacher or a business person, they're using skills and tools that we've taught them during their time at Georgia that they can use to, continue to grow and do what they're going to do and move on to bigger and better things.
Can you talk about, of course, what a recruitment process looks like for prospective student athletes?
So it's a little different this year with COVID, but June 15th was the day that we coaches were able to start communicating with the athletes. And we've reached out to kids. We set up phone calls. Again, I think recruiting is very similar to matchmaking, like Match.com, people are trying to figure out the right person for them. We're trying to find the right fit for this person, and they're trying to find the right fit for them. So I tell people it's kind of like matchmaking, like we want to build a relationship. We want to see if Georgia's the right fit for you. And if it is, awesome. If it's not, that's okay. Like you need to find a school that has what you're looking for academically, athletically, and heaven forbid, if you couldn't swim or compete anymore, can you still see yourself at that institution? So we do a lot of communication over the phone. We utilize Zoom a lot because they were unable to come on official visits. And we set up a Zoom series. It was about 7 weeks. And we had, each week was a different theme. We offered 2 opportunities. They could come in on a Monday or a Thursday and just listen to individuals that would play a role in their career if they came to Georgia. So we had meet the coaches one week. We had academic support. So you would meet with somebody who would help you with tutoring and mentoring and setting up any type of academic assistant that you would need during your time here. We have a program called the Georgia Way, which is really, I think it's probably the only one, or there's not very many of them, that allows them to do things during their 4 years. So when they get to their senior year, they have internships lined up. They have job experiences. They've been to job fairs, how to write a resume. Again, it's really helping them to be prepared for the real world. We had nutritionists, sports medicine, strength and conditioning. And then we set up a series where we had some of our most popular majors. So we're really strong in journalism. We're really strong in business. We had political science. So we had like academic advisors in those schools, and people would come on and just listen to what does a Terry College of Business look like, and what are some courses, and how can they kind of help. Again, swimming's only going to take them so far, but we want to really make sure that they're doing well academically, because that's going to open doors for the future. So we utilize Zoom a whole lot. We still can't have official visits, but we really wanted to make sure that they knew that these were the individuals that would be there for them for 4 years or 5 years or however long it took you to get your degree, that were there to help and support and do whatever they could to make sure that you were an environment to be successful. So besides that, and just communicating with them, email, text, we really try to utilize that this year. But again, it's all about finding the right fit. It's about making sure that whatever school you're talking to just is a good connection with the staff, with the team, with everything. So we really try to give that to them this year, considering all of the limitations that were in place.
Of course, on the official visit before COVID, I've been to your facility and stuff. Are y'all allowed to like show them around the facility and stuff?
Yep. So we'll take them to all the buildings. So they'll come to the Ramsey Center. They'll see the swimming facility, the locker rooms. We'll take them to the Rankin Smith Center, which is where their academic support would be, which is right across the street from their weight room. Yeah, we do a whole campus tour. And then if we want to set up a Terry College of Business meeting, then we'll go and meet somebody there and they'll go over that. They'll go over engineering. We really want to kind of showcase what it's like to be in Athens. And for us, it's during their trip, we don't really do kind of like a dog and pony show. This is what Georgia is when you come here 365. They'll get in Thursday night. We pick them up on Friday. We take them around campus. We do all the academic stuff. And then we'll take them to a football game on Saturday. So we really try to make a point of this is what Georgia is the entire time. And I feel like if they are a part of something bigger than themselves and they get along well with the team and they get along well with the coaches, anybody can be successful here at the University of Georgia.
Can you talk about, of course, what a typical meet looks like at Georgia?
So we can do a meet is anywhere from 13 to 16 event order. For us, it usually takes about 2.5 hours. We have men and women that swim together, which is awesome because we train together. That was pre-COVID. COVID now we do them separate just for like spacing purposes, but we do all the events, all the distances, whether it's a 13 event order or 16 event order, but it's a really great opportunity just to kind of see where they are training wise and racing wise and just getting up and competing. And obviously our focus would be on SECs and NC2As, but it's a really cool environment. Our kids get behind each other. They're super encouraging. And when someone does something that's like really cool and people see what they put in and day out, it just makes it that much better and everyone gets like amped up and excited. But yeah, we host a really great dual meet environment, and we have an invitational around Thanksgiving with a couple teams, which is awesome. It's another kind of checkpoint to see where we're at training wise and what we need to do in the next coming weeks to get ready for conference. We actually are hosting women's SECs this year. It's going to be 2 weeks from tomorrow. And then the men are going to be at Missouri 3 weeks from today.
That's so amazing. What advice would you give upcoming high school athletes looking to get into college swimming?
My advice for anybody looking to, whether it's swim or any sport, is there's an institution for you. It doesn't have to be Division I. It could be 2 and 3. I mean, there's phenomenal coaches in all different types of divisions. I think if you are interested in programs, email them, reach out to them. They may not be able to respond, but I think, during the recruiting process, there's kids that we miss, but if someone reaches out and lets us know what's going on training wise, or they have meets coming up and shows interest in the program, I would strongly encourage people to do that. And then, like I said, it's all about building relationships. So when you're able to talk to coaches, really get to know them, ask a lot of questions about their program, about their school. You're in the driver's seat. This is your journey. I tell people all the time, I'm old. I've already done my journey and it was great. And again, I want each athlete to have the same experience I had. So don't be afraid to ask questions, do a ton of research, whether it's online or if you can go visit campuses on your own, do that. And just, can you see yourself there for 4 years? Academics is super important. Just make sure that school has programs for you. You can change degrees all the time. But yeah, academics is going to open doors for the future. So just build a relationship with coaches, do a ton of research, and really see if that place is the right fit for you.
That's wonderful advice. What advice would you give upcoming coaches looking to get into college swimming?
I would say the biggest advice I would give to anyone looking to get into college coaching, just reach out to coaches. I can speak from swimming coaches. We are super here's our secrets. Here's what works for Georgia. If you want to use it, awesome. If you don't, and take a couple things, maybe that works for your program. But just reach out to coaches and maybe go shadow, maybe spend a week with them and really kind of see what it's like on deck and practices and weights. And we've had a bunch of coaches come throughout the year and just see what it's like at Georgia and meet with our strength coach and talk about why we're doing the plan that we're doing, and training wise, why are we doing what we're doing right now, and really dive in. One of the cool things during the pandemic is we had Zoom calls with other collegiate coaches from across the country, whether it was Cal, Ohio State, Florida State, Georgia, Texas A&M, and all we did was share ideas. And each school said, okay, here's how we train mid-distance. Here's how we train sprinters. Here's how we train distance kids. And it was really cool. Like, a ton of ideas were shared, a ton of questions were raised, and everyone was really willing to help. So anybody looking to get into coaching, reach out to the programs that interest you and see why and how Georgia has been so successful. Or can you go shadow them for a week or spend a summer with them? You'd be surprised at the amount of coaches who are willing to just share. And again, there's no secrets. It's not what we do at Georgia is anything special or different than other programs. It's worked for us and it's worked for our kids, and we're going to continue to do it. And we've evolved as a program. And, again, we're creating an environment for our kids to be successful, and they're the ones that are doing it. So I just would encourage people to reach out, ask a ton of questions, and see if you can go shadow some great programs.
That's wonderful advice. Where can my listeners find a course you at on social media along with the program app?
So my social media is SW Moreno 79, Moreno 79. And then the program on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram is UGA Swim Dive.
Thank you again, Stephanie, for your interview, and best of luck in this upcoming season.
Thanks, Brandon.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Stephanie, for your interview, and best of luck.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.